Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing upgrading your power steering lines on your 2004 to 2006 Pontiac GTO with stainless steel lines. So I was doing my clutch job and had to drop my cradle. That's a big long mess, but in the process of dropping the cradle, I messed up the fitting that goes into the rack, the high pressure fitting. So I went on the forums and found out that you can just upgrade these with stainless steel. It's all pretty inexpensive and easy to get. I bought everything off Amazon and it came next day. And it was around $150, I think. But I'll leave a link in the description for all the parts I bought. But essentially, it's going to be from the pump itself down to the rack, and then from the rack to the rubber line that goes into the cooler up here. So I think I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to get my intake out of the way to gain access to my power steering pump and go from there. So let me get this off, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, with the intake tube off, you can see what we're going to be doing here. So this is your power steering pump, and this is your reservoir. This is the high pressure line that goes down and around, and actually it goes all the way down to your cradle, across, back over, and then into your steering rack, because obviously Holden's are right-hand drive, so it would have just went down and around over there, but you know, it has to make a big loop to go into ours. But if you're looking at the list at the forum or the parts list down in the description below, this is where that 90 is going to go. So it is a swivel fit 90, but we are going to take that off, this line off, and then have that 90 right here. I'm probably going to run it down here along the frame rail, back and into the steering rack. So I'm probably going to take the lines off down there and start working on getting the lines off that wrap around the cradle before I pull this guy off, just to make sure there's not a whole lot of fluid left in the lines. I don't want a lot of fluid up top. I don't care if it drips down below, but I don't want it dripping everywhere on the pump itself and the alternator and things like that. So let me go ahead and start disconnecting the two lines on the rack, and we'll go from there. And actually I'll go under and point out which ones I'm talking about. So I'll meet you under there. All right, and as you can see right here, these are the high pressure lines I'm referring to. These are going to be where 45-degree swivel AN lines or fittings will go. And we're going to disconnect those and let the rest of that power steering drain out. As you can tell, it is or has been dripping. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that it drips the rest of the way out before I start pulling that line from up top and figuring out how long to cut that line. So like I said, I'll leave the link in the description for the LS1 forum page that has all the part numbers and stuff, and then I'll even leave my shopping cart of all the fittings I bought. I had to kind of mix and match, but you can either get them in stainless or blue anodized, but all mine are in black. So let's go ahead and get these lines off, and then we'll go from there. All right, so here are the lines that go under the car that go to the engine cradle. So this one is going to be the high pressure line that comes from the power steering pump up there, and it comes down and it goes to the front of your oil pan. So there's two bolts right here that you have to take out, and then the push pins for the wiring harness. And then this wraps all the way around this soft line, and then back it loops on itself and goes here. And there's a bolt that goes through here, or a screw rather. It's like an 8mm. And then this comes back across and then up and into the steering rack. The other one, the other line, so that's going to be the high pressure in. The high pressure out is going to come from the rack, back around, joins with this other line that runs through, and this goes straight into these lines that go into the cooler, and then from the cooler back. So I have disconnected the lines in the steering rack itself. So the bottom line goes right there. The bottom line is a 19 mil, and the top line is a 16 mil. And now that I have these all disconnected, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. There's also two 8mm screws up here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out, and then I'm going to start measuring for my length of my stainless steel line I'll need. So let's get all these out, and then we'll start measuring. Quick update, I was just going to let you guys know that these two lines are put together with this clip or this clamp, and it's riveted. So all I did was drill at the bottom, and this then separated, which allowed me to take off that line that runs to there and to the bottom of the rack. So I now am going to go get all my AN fittings and start measuring line, and we'll start cutting, and I'll see you back here in a second. All right, quick update. I just wanted you guys to see that I've started putting the fittings on the hose ends and the rack. So here is the barbed fitting. Then we have, this is going to be an M16 by 1.5 that goes into the pump. This is a 90. This is not installed. It is just sitting there. So I was getting ready to start cutting my line to size. And then we look way down here. Let's see if I can't get it. Yep. Hold on now. So, if we look right down there, you can see, get the focus maybe. The one on top is also going to be an M16 by 1.5, and the one on bottom is a M18 by 1.5. They are, the M16 is going to be, I believe it's an 18mm socket that I used, and then the M18 on the bottom was a 19mm socket. So that's going to help there. And then I'm getting ready to go cut the hose. Now, with one of the fittings I got, it also gave me a good little write-up on how to cut your lines. So fine-tooth hacksaw or cutoff wheel, and then into the vise you're going to measure, says an inch, or I'm sorry, 1/25 or 3/50 away from the end of the hose. You never want to completely bottom out. You want a little bit of space so it'll suck up into it. A little bit of lube and put it together. So that's great, and that's in case somebody else doesn't get anything with theirs and it's your first time as well. It's my first time doing this kind of thing too. But here's the rest of the hose, and then my 245s, and that's my hose end. So I'm going to go ahead and get these mocked up, and then we're going to measure some line. I'll probably have a little bit of excess line. Try to tuck it somewhere. That way, if I need to pull the rack for any reason, but I want to leave it in the car, I can leave the tie rods on and just disconnect it from the knuckle and pull it out. Don't have to take the lines off. So I'll probably do a little bit extra, and as soon as I get this mocked up, I'll show you guys. All right, so here's my first attempt at an AN line. I have a jig that goes into a little bench vise that I have, and that side went on great. I cut it to length, and then I tried to do this side, but the jig I have doesn't like 45s. It pulled this collar or nut, whatever you want to call it, up a little higher than the marking I had. I'm pretty confident that it's not going to leak, but if it does, I know that it's probably due to that right there. These are pretty easy to make. I used a cutoff wheel to cut it to size, and I will say that the first time I went, I was just trying to get through it, and it really kind of sprawled out that end of the line, and it made it super difficult to get onto this side. So I rewrapped it in electrical tape and then just let the cutoff wheel cut, let it do its job, and it turned out way better. So I'm pretty happy with the length, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get this one installed. This one goes to the bottom fitting, into that barb that goes into the power steering cooler. So let me see if I can't get this routed up out of the way, and then I'll zip tie it and then show you guys. So I'll be back in just 1 second. All right, so I went ahead and cranked out that second one. As you can see, here's the 90. And again, I wanted a little extra, so I made it loop kind of back around. Obviously, the intake tube goes here, so you can't take it this way. Loop back around that way. And then down into the rack down there. I will say that the very last AN fitting I was doing was giving me just a heck of a time, and I really couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and it was so annoying. And I ended up cutting a little bit more off that line and tried again, and it just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't bite. It wouldn't go in, and it was just so frustrating. But I put a little bit more lube on it, took my time, and really pushed as I was turning, and it really that worked. It caught. If anything, or if I learned anything during this process, it was take your time doing the things with the AN fittings. You really want to take your time, make sure they're well lubricated, push on, keep your stainless steel line tension pushed on as you're turning your AN fittings, making sure it is biting the entire time. If I was trying to go way too fast, I think, and it was just pushing the line out the other side, it was just making me more frustrated and making me want to go faster. So definitely take your time on that. But I'm pretty happy with all this. It's all nice, tucked out of the way. It's not hitting on anything. It's away from the headers, or the header, I guess, on this side. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So now the only thing you have to do is go ahead and fill up your reservoir. So make sure that you're paying attention. There is a cold and a hot level. Oops, sorry. There's a cold and a hot level. So we're going to go to the cold max. It is recommended that you use ATF, or automatic transmission fluid. Mobil 1 is pretty commonly available around here. So I got the dexron, it'd be 6, so VI. But that is what I'm going to use in this. Use whatever ATF you want. But yep, all you got to do is fill it up to that max line. You're going to want to turn your car on. This is a high pressure line, and it works when your car is on. And then you're going to leave your cap off, and then turn your wheel all the way to the left, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, all the way to the right. And that's going to help bleed the system of any air bubbles. All these lines are obviously, there's nothing in them. So I would assume this is probably going to take about a quart. I bought 2 as a just in case. But yeah, I think that's going to be about it. So all right, so quick update. I went to go put these on and bleed the system, and that line popped off. It'd probably be pretty hard to see, but the line popped off. So after a little more investigation, I found out that the 45-degree fittings I ordered were not PTFE recommended. That's my mistake. But the greatest thing is Amazon delivers stuff in a day, so I already have new ones ordered. I will make sure that the ones I leave in the description are the correct ones, and this really wasn't that hard to put together, so I'm going to pop those off and wait till tomorrow to finish this up. But yeah, people make mistakes. It's okay, and that's what I'm here to do, is to learn for you guys and make sure you get the correct things. So like I said, those are on order. They'll be here tomorrow, and we'll get this buttoned up then. All right, don't mind the mess, but this is the line, and then this is the new 45 PTFE fitting, and you can tell they are because apparently the PTFE fittings have this silver collar that slides down over in between the PTFE and the braided line itself. So in the same way, you're going to want to bottom this out, pull it up just a smidge, and then here's the soft jaws that I have, and we're going to go from the bottom through the soft jaws, or maybe from the side, depending on if that collar falls out or not. And then you're just going to want to thread this guy into it until it cinches down. So let me get that done, and I'll show you. Also, just in case anyone is curious, this one is 33 inches, and this one's 42 inches. If you like the way mine is set up and you just want to pre-measure and cut, I would give yourself just a little extra, maybe half an inch around there, and that's going to be pretty close. If you don't like the way mine's routed and you want to route them a different way, then you have to measure your own. But let's go ahead and I already switched these 45s out, so let's go ahead and get them back in the car and get the system bled. All right, so they are now back on. It's going to be impossible to see them because I don't have my light on me, but all the lines are connected. The one up top did leak again, but I think it was just because it was at a hard angle. So I unloosened it and put it at a better angle, and it worked great. So no more leaks. I did turn it on and bleed the system. So all you have to do is turn your vehicle on. Obviously, this is a vacuum pump and it runs off your motor. So turn your vehicle on. I like to have mine up in the air and the front wheels off the ground. Just makes it a lot easier to turn. But you can turn all the way right, turn all the way left. Be sure your cap's off. Be sure you're paying attention and making sure that the fluid doesn't go below this rubber line right here. But that's going to feed air into the rack, and that bleeds the system. I will say that a tip, I guess, if there is any air being introduced, so if it's not sealed properly, this will bubble. It's red, obviously ATF is red, so it has like this almost pink hue to it, and it'll bubble here, or it'll bubble out of wherever there is a crack and it's not sealed properly. So that is a heads up. But yep, everything is done, and I love it. It's tucked out of the way. It looks great, and a little bit more peace of mind. So, yeah, not too bad. But thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.